Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar on how to accelerate cloud data warehousing with Snowflake. To everyone, Srini is an IT professional with experience in cloud data warehousing, basically anything. He has a storied career. He is our, oh, did we cut out there? He's our director.
I'm there. Go ahead.
Data and insights here at Compunnel Digital. He's also been a thought leader across several different organizations, has a lot of experience with this subject matter here today, and we hope that you find it enlightening and helpful. Again, please ask any questions that come to mind in the question box. At the end of the webinar, we will also send out the replay if anyone has to duck in or out. And without further ado, Srini, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for the quick introduction. Hi, team. As Rachel introduced, this is Srinivas Chalu. I'm working as a director for Enterprise Data and Insights team within Compunnel Digital. So let us see our agenda without wasting much time. So here I mentioned the agenda for today. These are all the points and the topics that we discuss. Okay, so categorize the challenges with traditional or on-premise data warehouses, and then data-driven data warehouse evolution, and Snowflake data warehouse, and Snowflake Speciality with it, and how to accelerate cloud data warehouse with Snowflake, modern data architecture within Snowflake. And apart from that, we also can see the case study, and then we will go ahead with question and answer session. So as I mentioned, this is the categorized challenges with traditional and on-premise databases. I'm going to share my screen here. Probably in your organization, you might have seen either all of the challenges or few of the challenges even with you when you're dealing with the traditional or on-premise data warehouse or the traditional data systems. Okay, so for example, performance issues. This is the most common issue or the challenge with the systems. Okay, so with the on-premise data warehouse or the traditional data warehouse cannot accommodate bursts of the activity that require more compute or memory. That means if you need all of a sudden a more memory or more compute memory, you cannot scale it up, or you cannot scale it up. So there is a performance issues are there. And the storage, so it supports only the structured but doesn't support any unstructured data storage and all. So this is one more challenge or the major setback with the traditional data warehouse systems. And massive upfront investment in time and resources. Okay, so massive upfront investment in time and resources. This is also one more challenge with the traditional data warehouse systems. So what does it mean? So whenever you want to upgrade your data warehouse system to include the new LOB like line of business, or include new module within the existing data warehouse, so in that case you need to upgrade the system. So it is a troublesome and lot of investment on time and the resources also you have to make. This is one of the major setback with the traditional data warehouse system. And then one more challenge here also mentioned, concurrency and accessibility. So with the traditional data warehouses, a large number of users or use cases, right? So you could experience concurrency issues such as delays or failures when too many queries compete for the resources. For example, we have a traditional data warehouse system. We built one reporting application on top of it. The more number of users are using it, so the lot of queries getting triggered and trying to pull the data from this data warehouse. There is a concurrency and accessibility issue, right? There is a delays to get the data, or sometimes this hits, the query hits will failures also, leads to failure also. So this is one challenge. And apart from that, there is a cost issues also there. Costs incurred for hardware and power consumption and space, thereby involves higher costs with the traditional data warehouses. When it comes to the traditional data warehouse or on-premise data warehouse, we need to take care everything. It's hardware and its power consumption and its space and all the resources we need to take care everything. Whenever you want to upgrade, there is a cost is involved. There is a huge cost. Sometimes even though you're not using that level of space or that level of computing memory, but you need to spend more money, so cost is involved here. Sometimes one more challenge and common challenge we had from majority of our customers, even of course you also can see this in your organization, how to sustain business growth with best use of data. All of a sudden somebody in your organization wants to see the new data with the new LOB, line of business. Okay, but to incorporate that, first of all, you need to your system has to be supported for that to incorporate or integrate. So this is one more challenge I can say. Okay, so I hope you are also observing or facing these kind of challenges with your traditional data warehouse or your on-premise data warehouse. Let us see how to overcome it, and what is the best solution for all of this. So in next slides. So So in this slide, so the data-driven data warehouse evolution. So you might have seen, whoever worked in this industry for more than 10, 15 years, they might have seen all this evolution history within the data warehouse systems. Okay, what does it mean? For example, RDBMS, these are the traditional data warehouses were built in early 90s till 2000 year. So Oracle is one of the system very popular to do that. And along with that, SQL Server, MySQL, PostgreSQL, these kind of RDBMS systems also were using widely to develop the data warehousing those days till 2000. Even today also most of the companies are using, but there are a lot many challenges or drawbacks with that. Okay, so and then in 2000 around 2005, so there was one more system called appliances, right? Appliances like Teradata, Netezza are some of the in-memory applications, okay, to boost up the performance. In around 2005, when the Teradata kind of system or the database introduced, so there is a huge boost in the performance and all, but there are still limitations. It's a MPP, massive a parallel processing system, but still there are certain limitations with that. So what was the issues here with these in-memory applications or in-memory databases? There is a huge investment on the memory and the RAM and the resources front. So this is one more major challenge for everyone with these appliances. Okay, and then around 2005, in 2005 or 2006, Hadoop kind of system introduced to the market. So what happened to this Hadoop? Hadoop is the best one, and it supports the big data initiatives very well. So HDFS file system and Hive system and Hadoop ecosystem is the best suit for the big data initiatives, and it was a big hit. Even most of the companies using it for their big data initiatives. But so there are certain drawbacks to getting the resources, skillful resources on that, and configuration of the systems takes months and months. Sometimes it leads to failures and all, though it is a free software or an open source software. So there are some challenges here and there. But exactly in 2012 around, initial cloud DB were introduced. So AWS came up with Redshift. It's a purely data warehouse DB on top of the cloud, and then Azure also came up with its own data warehouse, and BigQuery, it's a Google Cloud based data warehousing related database. So these are all came to the market, and they are also doing well. Even today also they are doing great, but there are a lot of limitations with that as well, in terms of the performance and in terms of the functionality, in terms of the other things. So exactly around 2016, Snowflake came into the market. It's really a game changer, I can say. So what is the best thing with the Snowflake? We can see in the later slides. but I can say it is the game changer in the market. So whoever spent in the data area or a data space for more than a decade or 10, 15 years or so, they might have seen all these systems in their career. Might be till 1990, from 1990s to 2000, RDBMS and the traditional warehouses are very much popular, but still most of the companies are using. And in 2000, appliances were introduced, Teradata, Netezza, and Exadata, and in-memory databases also introduced. And then around 2005, Hadoop-based ecosystems like HDFS, Hive, big data to support the big data initiatives. These came to the market, and around 2012, initial versions of the cloud databases like Redshift on Azure, AWS, and Azure Data Warehouse, and then BigQuery were introduced. Of course, still there are certain limitations with that. And then cloud designed database, a data warehouse called Snowflake introduced around 2016. It was a big boom, and there is a lot of migrations happening from the traditional databases or data warehouses to the cloud-based Snowflake these days. Okay, so let us see why the Snowflake is that much popular, and what is Snowflake, and what kind of unique features it can provide, and what is it all about. Let us see in later slides. Okay, so you can see the Snowflake data warehousing at a high level. So what kind of features it has, and what does it support, and what kind of sources it support, who are all the consumers out of it, the Snowflake, and what kind of functionality and techno-functional aspects it covers. Okay, so we mentioned here. So the data Snowflake is not just a data warehouse. I can say beyond the data warehouse. Snowflake is not just a data warehouse, it's a beyond the data warehouse, because it's not just supporting the OLTP traditional applications, or else in enterprise applications, third party web log data, Internet of Things data. So any kind of data it can process and store within it, and it can that can happen within very less time, with huge speed, and there is no latency while loading or retrieval. And so there are a lot many other things also can be possible with the Snowflake data warehouse, like data engineering and data lake, data warehouse, data science aspects, and data applications and data sharing kind of mechanism also will be possible with the Snowflake. That's the reason I'm saying Snowflake is not just data warehouse, it beyond the data warehouse. And who are all the consumers out of this Snowflake? So the data monetization groups and operational reporting teams, ad hoc analysis teams, and real-time analytics teams. So these are all the different teams who are the consumers, or identified the consumers as a consumers within any of the IT organization or any organization. So that is the reason Snowflake is a big hit all these days. If you can see, it is not going to hold only the structured data. Also, it can support to store semi-structured, and recent versions of the Snowflake is supporting even unstructured data as well. So there is no limitation what sort of data you want to keep it within it, and what to use and what purpose you want to use, whether it is a data monetization, operational reporting, ad hoc analysis, real-time analytics. It could be anything, I can say, for that matter. So then, so I am saying a lot of things about the Snowflake. Why Snowflake? What is its specialty? We can see in this slide. So what is the specialty of the Snowflake here? These are all the unique features of the Snowflake I mentioned. After this slide, you can understand why this Snowflake is this much special, and why Snowflake is this much a hit and a huge hit in the market. Okay, so Snowflake architecture, the real differentiator. So the very foremost best thing within the Snowflake is its architecture. It is the real differentiator for the Snowflake. Snowflake architecture allows flexibility, and Snowflake decouples the storage and compute functions. Majority of the cloud-based applications integral part of this compute and storage, But in case of Snowflake, it decouples storage and compute functions. Users can scale up or scale down as they need it, and pay for only the resources they use. The architecture is the real differentiator here within the Snowflake. And the database storage, the database storage layer holds all data loaded into the Snowflake. And of course, Snowflake automatically manages all aspects of how the data is stored and how to store it in a better way. And then one more unique feature about the Snowflake is the compute layer. So Snowflake enables non-disruptive automatic scaling, which means while queries are running, compute resources can scale without need to redistribute or rebalance the data in the storage layer. That means while your queries are, the queries are running, if compute resources can scale up, scale down, there is a lot of freedom within it. Okay, so we need not to redistribute or rebalance the data in the storage layer. That is one beautiful feature about the Snowflake. And the cloud services, the cloud service layer uses ANSI SQL for Snowflake, and it coordinates the entire system. So it eliminates the need for manual data warehouse management and tuning. So what does it mean in our traditional data warehouse on-premise? For example, if you face some performance bottlenecks or there are certain issues, there is no choice. We need to manually debug that issue and tune it and identify the performance bottleneck and all. But in case of Snowflake, it takes care automatically. Okay, so it follows ANSI SQL and coordinates the entire system. It eliminates the need for manual data warehouse management and tuning. Of course, it can do it automatically by itself. Okay, so that is the beauty of Snowflake. And performance and speed, this is one more unique feature I can say. The elastic nature of the cloud means if you want to load data faster and run high volumes of queries, you can scale up your virtual warehouse to take advantage of it, extra compute resources. Afterward, if you don't want, you can scale down the virtual warehouse and pay for only the time used. The performance and speed can be achieved very easily, drastically. So that's what I can say. And the next one is the storage support for structured and semi-structured. And even with the latest version of the Snowflake, unstructured also possible. There is no limitation. In our traditional data warehouses, we can store only the structural data, but here we can keep the structured, semi-structured, unstructured data also. And there are a couple of other features I mentioned here. So what are those? You can see in this slide, concurrency and accessibility. So what does it mean, the concurrency and accessibility? Snowflake address concurrency issues with its unique multi-cluster architecture. So this is most important feature and unique feature about the Snowflake. It follows the multi-cluster architecture. So whenever there is a need for concurrency, so it queries from one virtual warehouse never affect the queries from another. That means each virtual warehouse can scale up or scale down as required on its own. Okay, data analysts or the data scientists, okay, data engineers can get what they need. They need not to wait for anything. Data concurrency can be easily sorted out because of its multi-cluster architecture. And then seamless data sharing. So what does it mean, seamless data sharing here? Snowflake's architecture enables data sharing among the Snowflake users. Sometimes, it also allows organizations to seamlessly share data with any data consumer, whether they are a Snowflake customer or not. Though it happened through reader accounts that can be created directly from the user interface. So the seamless data sharing is one more unique feature about Snowflake. And availability and security. Okay, so security is the one more important feature about it, and it follows the SOC 2 SOC 2 type 2 certified is available within Snowflake. And availability, high availability is there. Snowflake is disrupted across availability zones of the platforms, and which it runs either as AWS or Azure. Even it's supporting on Google Cloud also recent times. Okay, so and it is designed to operate continuously, tolerate component and network failures with minimal impact to the customers. That means there is a high availability is available here, and then security features also one more advantage here. So there is a tight security features are available here. Anybody can believe, though it is a cloud-based application, a fully automated platform. It is not like manual intervention is required. This is a fully automated platform. Even if the number of users grow, you need not to worry about the software updates or configurations or failures. Okay, so and infrastructure scaling. Snowflake is a fully automated platform so that it supports sophisticated features such as warehouse auto scaling and big data workload and data sharing, and scale up, scale down can be taken care by its own. Cost effective. The Snowflake interfaces cuts off idle time, and only consider the usage time. Snowflake charges for the end users or the customers only for the usage time, but not for the idle time. There is a cost effective also. The data you store and computer hours are only considered here. The cost optimized platform ensures on demand data at real time. So the interface eliminates idle costs and keeps the data ready for analysis or reporting. Okay, so it cuts off the idle time, only charges are considered the usage time, so that there is a lot of saving for the end users or the customers here. And the one more feature is here, easy to use. Snowflake is very easy. Even the layman can log in Snowflake and play around it, and he can get whatever he is looking for. It's very easy to use, easy to play with it, and it's a sophisticated browser-based front-end application, can allow any layman kind of person or the person who doesn't know anything about the technology also can play with it easily. So these are all the unique features, and these are the differentiators for the Snowflake. So you must understand by this time, so why Snowflake is a huge hit, and what is the unique features about it, and why Snowflake is a huge hit in the market. And then of course, now let us focus the core topic that is planned for today: how to accelerate cloud data warehouse migrations to Snowflake, or else how to accelerate cloud data warehousing with Snowflake. Okay, if you can observe closely this diagram, so this diagram shows how we can accelerate the cloud migrations from on-premise data warehouse to the Snowflake. If you see, this is the on-premise, the very left side is the on-premise, ETL, and then data warehouse. The ETL, right, extraction, transformation, and loading technology, and there are many of the tools and technologies, platforms available to support ETL, just like Informatica Power Center, IBM Data Stage, Talent Data Fabric, and of course there are lot many other tools also available, but I mentioned very few here. Okay, so in traditional data warehouses, ETL plays a major role, so that without ETL we cannot achieve a majority of the things, while extraction, transformation, and loading, cleansing, and maintaining the data quality, and also while loading the data, it takes care all the aspects of the data loading and the data migration. And of course, and then data warehouse. So within the data warehouses, any of the traditional data warehouses, you can see the database objects like tables, views, stored procedures, functions, even many more. So this data warehouse in traditional warehouses were built based upon Teradata, or else Netezza, or Exadata, or anything, for that matter, Oracle or MySQL. Any kind of databases were used for that matter. And how to migrate that into the cloud? There is a easy to migrate mechanism available. For example, if you take Informatica cloud based Informatica intelligent cloud services, or Informatica cloud application, or else Talent on cloud also available, so that on-premise ETL piece of work you can migrate to Informatica cloud-based Informatica or the Talent, so that all of your ETL connections, ETL mappings, mapping tasks, task flows, or the workflows, every ETL piece of the code can migrate into the cloud-based applications like Informatica and Talent. So that recent time, majority of the ETL applications are available in cloud-based platforms also, just like Informatica and Talent. And then what about the data warehouse or the database objects? Even the database objects and the like tables, views, stored probes, functions, all these things can be migrated to the data warehouse within the Snowflake. Okay, so very easily, so it supports all kind of SQL queries. It support majority of the ETL tools like Informatica, Talent, even some of the data replication tools like Informatica Cloud Mass Ingestion, and there are certain other replication tools like Stretch or else Fivetran kind of tools also support. There is no limitation, right? All the major vendors within ETL which can support in cloud are used to load the data or feed the data into Snowflake. Even by using if you don't want to use any ETL as a tool, you can convert that ETL code into NoSQL scripts. That NoSQL you can deploy so that it takes care all the ETL mechanism, ETL piece of work, so that all of your tables can be migrated, views can be migrated, everything will be migrated and data will be populated, so that you can 100% cloud version of the data warehouse will be built within less time on the Snowflake. So I hope you understand each and every aspects within this diagram and the slide. Let us move to the next one. So in the next slide, you might wonder, right? So what this ETL piece will do? What is this cloud and how it deal? So how it will do this and targets and what cloud means. For example, here I mentioned based on Informatica, not the Talent. If you take the Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services as a cloud-based ETL software, and it supports hundreds of the data sources, 200 plus data sources, but recent time they upgraded even more data sources they are supporting, either SaaS applications, big data, traditional databases, for that matter, business applications, web analytics, anything. Okay. So, and then Informatica has its own cloud applications on the cloud platforms like AWS and Azure, and then it pull the data from these sources and load it into the Snowflake. And of course, again, the Snowflake will support on the different cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and even Google Cloud as well. So once the data is migrated through this Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services from these data sources to the Snowflake, that is report ready or the user ready data, so that that data can be consumed by any of the reporting applications and reporting systems here. And if you look at, I mentioned clearly, there are three layers here. Okay, when you're dealing with like Informatica cloud version or any of the ETL tool cloud version, one is the data source layer, so from where we are getting the data, and then Informatica cloud, so Informatica hosts its software on any of these platforms like AWS or Azure. So it's a cloud version of the Informatica, I can say, Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. And then it loads into the destination data warehouse called Snowflake. From there, anybody can consume it. So a lot of consumers like ad hoc reporting, or ad hoc analysis, or business intelligence systems, or else data visualization applications for that matter can be used from there very easily. In this way, by using Informatica kind of cloud-based applications, we can accelerate our cloud data warehouse migrations to Snowflake very easily and so quickly. And I mentioned here modern data architecture in Snowflake. As I said, its architecture is the main advantage for the Snowflake. So with the Snowflake, we can build the modern data architecture also very easily in the Snowflake, because it doesn't create any problem to load any sort of data. For example, it can store structured, semi-structured, unstructured, any kind of data it can store, so that we don't have any such worries to store and retrieve. Okay, so if you could see these data sources, structured, unstructured, semi-structured, web applications data, or web APIs data, IoT data, anything can be fetched. And once you loaded the data into the Snowflake, we can segregate them as a data zones. For example, raw data and confirmed dimensions like dimension or master data dimension, referential data, and then model data like integrated, cleansed, and model data. Often we call it as a dimensional model, okay, dimensionally model for the reporting purpose and all. So there are ETL can be used within the Snowflake by its own SQL, NoSQL, or else any third-party ETL tools like Informatica and all. And if you can see the consumers, right? The consumers can be anyone, as I mentioned. Data visualization, reporting, data science, ad hoc queries, for that matter, anybody can be the consumer to get the data from the Snowflake. So this kind of the unique features made Snowflake very popular. Very it creates a lot of boom these days in the market, especially on the data warehousing and data areas. So a lot of migrations happening from on-premise to the cloud. So this is the good part of the Snowflake. So with that, I will go ahead and show you some case studies here, what we implemented for some of our customers. Okay. So here, if you look at the case study, we implemented a Snowflake based cloud data warehouse for one of our customer. So we implemented for certain modules. They are into education industry. So initially we took 5 institutions to implement this solution. So what is the basic challenge here is they created their on-premise data warehouse based upon the Oracle system, and there are a huge number of tables and the stored procs and the views and functions. Lot many stuff is created, of course, by using the Informatica Power Center as a on-premise ETL tool, and their source is a banner. It's educational institutions ERP system, I can say. So all those system was created and have been using for several years on the on-premise. But the challenge is whenever they want to incorporate the new schools and onboarding new schools or the new institutions to onboard on this data warehouse, scale up is the headache. There is a lot of investment has to be made in the form of the time and efforts, as well as the resources, and also on the infrastructure, on the servers and whatnot. So there is a lot of stuff is there, and even sometimes they were missing the deadlines and the timelines to upgrade the systems and to incorporate the new onboard the new institutions data, or else sometimes new modules or new LOB data. So for that reason they onboarded and they came up with an approach for Snowflake Cloud Data Warehousing. We migrated all of their ETLs and using Informatica ISCS, and we created a data warehousing layer, MDM layer, referential data layer for them, and we migrated all of their objects 100% without missing any functionality. Of course, with a better functionality, with the latest features within Snowflake and Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. So this is the data warehousing migration part, I can say. The other project we created for this customer is Project Apollo, I can say, but this is the reporting system. They were using before this Snowflake Cloud Data Warehouse was initiated. They were using the reporting system called Cognos. They were lot of reports were created, more than 1800 plus reports were created. They don't know how to migrate that all the reports which were pointing from Oracle to future Snowflake, so that so they can use Power BI as a reporting tool or the data visualization tool once the data is migrated to the Snowflake. So we planned initially 1261 reports, migration out of 1800 plus reports, and then 175 reports in a single first phase we delivered, and phase by phase we delivered all these reports. So what they achieved by using this, so low maintenance, high availability, significant cost savings, okay, connect to various data sources easily, and engaging dashboards with drag and drop modules, better collaboration and sharing these dashboards and reports across the organization. Okay, so helped in increasing top lines with better insights for their stakeholders also, and the 40% reduction in the maintenance cost also they were realized recent time after we implemented the Snowflake cloud system and the reporting system based on the Power BI. So resulted 10% increase in the top line with better insights and visibility also, rapid visualization also they were achieved. So automation, data set integration, ease of expansion into the new data sources also. For example, in future they want to migrate a new data source, they can easily can incorporate, because Snowflake, you need not to wait for anything to buy. Simply you can opt for their one of the model, and then you can go for that. So with that, I will head towards the question session. So thanks from my side. I'm done with the session, but if you have any questions, you can post it here so that Rachel will forward it to me and share it for me. Thank you. Rachel, what you?
Okay, thank you, Srini. Thank you very much for that informative session. And thank you everyone for hanging in there with us. We've had a few audio issues. So to answer many of the questions that came in, first and foremost, yes, we can share the deck with everyone. And if you have further questions, we'll obviously answer those that you've submitted here today. But beyond that, if you have other questions, feel free to reach out to our team or to Srini. We'd be happy to help you with any questions you have about data warehousing or Snowflake. Srini, the first question that I have is regarding to slide 6. With Snowflake coming in, will the categories 1 through 4 be dead on slide 6?
Okay, so slide number 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's not like that. Can you come up with the question again? With the
Yeah.
Snowflake emerging, so what's going to happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So they all coexist, but Snowflake is the leader in the market. It has its own benefits, but it covers entire thing. Snowflake has RDBMS capabilities. Snowflake has appliances capabilities. Snowflake can support big data initiatives. Snowflake can support all these things. So what Redshift can do, Snowflake can do even 100 times more than a Redshift, 100 times more than a Azure. But with emerging Snowflake, nothing will happen to these 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Okay, so they are all coexist. Maybe some of the customers still they would like to go ahead with some appliances, and they would like to stick with the Hadoop system. Still they want to use Redshift. That is their up to them. Their usage, that depends on their usage. But it doesn't mean that Snowflake will kill all this. It's not like that. Everything, every system has its own importance and own usage based on the customer size and its priorities, and their priorities they will use, and they will opt one of these. But I can say Snowflake is the leader. Snowflake is the best among all of these recent time.
Great, thank you for answering that. The next question is,
answer your question.
The next question is, what are the best tools to work with Snowflake, i.e. QuickSight or other examples?
QuickSight is also one of the good tool. Okay, so and then there is no limitation for that. So it lot of ETL tools will support for ETL mechanism side, like Informatica Talent, and in case of reporting side, in case of reporting side, there is no limitation. You can use even Python to write and create certain reports, and you can use the data science aspects. Okay, you can use either Power BI, Tableau kind of the latest data visualization tools. Okay, you can create beautifully visually the best reports out of it. There is no limitation as such.
Great, thank you. And the next question is, how does Snowflake support both unstructured and structured models?
Structured and unstructured models, right? Within Snowflake, there are certain data types. Okay, there are certain data types will support structured data, and there are certain data types will support semi-structured data. there are certain data types which supports this unstructured data as well. There is no limitation. It supports the data warehousing features, data lake features. Okay, so automatically its algorithms internally identify what kind of data it is. Based on that, it will prepare and it will store that data. Hope I answered your questions.
Okay, and is Snowflake a managed service and the platform as a service model?
So I will show you that. We have a couple of models here. Okay, so maybe I can show it here. Just give me a second. Okay. Calculator. So there are a lot of models are available here in Snowflake. So just give me a second so you can understand better. Okay, so if you look at, these are all it available in different platforms. You can see AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. At the same time, standard, enterprise, business critical, that is enterprise plus, and it's like a virtual private Snowflake VPS. It's business critical plus. So every model has its own set of important features. Okay, so if you go beyond, towards right, the lot of features will add, based on your need and based on your size of the company or the need base, you can opt in either of this one. I hope I answered your question. Go ahead, please.
Great. Sure. And the next question is with regarding migrating. Will the data warehouse objects and relationships and constraints be directly migrated into Snowflake, and will those be retained?
If you have any of the, it's not like that. You need to follow the certain guidelines within Snowflake. Okay, so it follows its certain guidelines when you are dealing. For example, you are migrating certain objects from Oracle to Snowflake. Okay, Oracle on-premise to the Snowflake. Certain functions will support within Oracle, but it doesn't support as is within Snowflake. So you have to write the code as per the need and as per Snowflake features or the Snowflake syntaxes or Snowflake functionality. So majority of the times it is, we can write, all the queries can be migrated as is, but with less tuning here and there, with less customization here and there, based on Snowflake functionality. Hope I answer your question. Go ahead.
Okay. The next question is, are there any functionalities for data governance and how to do data lineage in Snowflake?
Snowflake is coming and developing those things, okay, data governance features and lineage. But at this moment, Snowflake, most of the people are using for the data warehouse, data lakes. Okay, there is some features called data market. The huge data sets are available for each industry. They are providing data markets, but in future, one by one they are incorporating. Okay, so maybe we are expecting these kind of features also in future.
Okay,
hope
great.
I answer your question. Go ahead.
The next question is, does Snowflake support replication tools?
Yes, data replication tools supporting. Yeah. For example, recently we implemented for some of the customers Fivetran. Fivetran is the data replication tool. For the case study, what I shown in this deck, we implemented Informatica Cloud Mass Ingestion. That is also data replication tool. In some of the tool called Stitch, that is data replication tool. Yes, data replication tools can be supported by Snowflake. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Great. The next one is, I have a data source on premise, and can I connect to on-premise data source from Snowflake SaaS and develop models, or do we need to migrate on-prem data set to cloud data warehouse to develop models?
So we need to migrate first and then create the models on top of Snowflake. That's what the best practices we are following.
Great.
First of all, we need to migrate all the data models and then build the model on top of the Snowflake. Yeah, hope I answer your question.
Okay, great. And then what are the different cloud platforms on which Snowflake is available?
Cloud platforms, it supports on AWS, okay, it supports on Azure, it supports on even Google Cloud also, these three.
Gotcha. Okay. And what are the different ways to access the Snowflake Cloud Data Warehouse?
So there are a lot many ways, okay, using ODBC driver, JDBC driver, there is a browser-based front-end tools are there, okay, and then SnowSQL client tools are there, there are a lot many ways. Even you can interact with the Snowflake using the Python also, there are a lot many ways.
Okay.
I hope I answer your question.
The next question is, we have DEV, UAT, and prod data servers on premises. Will that mean we also need to build 3 Snowflake clusters to match this?
Within the same cluster also we can do, but it is your need, if it is a very big project, the data volumes are huge and the complexity within your organization structure, data structure is huge. So then we can opt for 3 different clusters also. Otherwise, we can use them on a single cluster also can be possible based on your need and the size of the project and complexity of your data structures. It depends. Hope I
Okay.
answer your question. Yeah.
And the next question is, does Snowflake have any, excuse me, everyone, any out-of-the-box analytics tools for data analysis?
Yes, data analysis also it has its browser tools. Okay, we can like SnowSQL, and apart from the SnowSQL, it has its own client-based utilities are there. Okay, client utilities. Using that, you can analyze your data. Yeah.
Okay, great. Another question is, does Calibra support Snowflake?
Calibra is a data governance tool. It can support Snowflake as one of the source. Yes, why not? It supports.
Okay. And then the next question is, are there costs involved with data in and data out?
Data in and data out. There is a cost involved there. Data in and data out. That means you're reading and you're okay. You're extracting and reading, right? So the cost is involved here.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Is Snow SQL fully ANSI SQL compliant?
Yeah, NCSQL compliant SnowSQL.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we have 1 or 2 more. What are the different kinds of editions available in Snowflake?
Editions I just now I shown, right? If I go back and show you standard edition, enterprise edition, business critical edition, that is enterprise plus, and VPS virtual Snowflake edition, that is business critical plus. These are all the different editions available based on the customer need and their need. They will support. I mean, they can opt any of these models.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And will Snowflake cluster replace my SPARC cluster? I apologize, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Spark cluster, perhaps?
Cluster. Possibility is there, but that depends on what purpose you are looking and want to do that. So that depends on your purpose, but possibility is there. So thanks for this question. Hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, well, that is all of our questions for today. So without further ado, we can go ahead and wrap up if everyone is ready. Again, thank you for being patient with us through our technical challenges getting started and throughout the broadcast. We will record the session. We will also send out the deck to anyone who's interested in that. Thank you for joining us today. Srini, thank you so much for sharing so much valuable information about data warehousing with Snowflake. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up, Srini?
So thanks for all of your support and your encouragement. Thanks for joining this event and making this so successful. There is a lot of registrations we could observe this time for this topic. Thanks for showing interest for this topic and making this event so successful. And apart from that, thanks for your help and hosting this event for you, Rachel. Thanks a lot.
Oh, Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you to our attendees for giving some of your valuable time, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yeah.